Yeah, the city had me tear down the house over here because the guy that's a policeman. Well, the city been really harassing me since May 2010. The the people on the flood advisory, they said it was May 2011, but I mean that because it was like I remember 'cause it was at the flood. So, and I think he's mad because like it was like 14 days, and the people that tore it down said, well, they can't get there until after 30 days. Tear it down any way you want to. But the lady said, so that's what we did. It's gone. The house is gone. So, and then they're like, oh, well, there's still a floor. Well, no, the floor's gone. Just, you know, so I'm loading up the trash cans. Since there's 3 houses on this property, they all had electricity at one time. There was 3 trash cans. Now, the other 2 trash cans are antique. One guy goes, well, where'd you get the trash can from? And it's an old ass trash can, one of these houses. But they raise nothing but thieves. I mean, don't get me wrong, they whoop them and everything here. And, like, in a sense, it makes them very, that's just like the doctor, the psychiatrist says, it makes them very narcissistic. Like, if you got anything that's a different, and then, like, they all believe in this Jesus, and then they sort of contradict. Well, there's one church up here was like, they said the devil worship, or whatever. One day, I'm like, I'm not messing with one extreme or the next. Oh, when I was talking about that Brad or Bark, Kavanaugh, we have a history through our Catholic preachers, 300 of them, that were found guilty of being pedophiles or rapers and abusing children. Because children, a lot of people, they just see that it's a long time to invest in raising them. They need a lot of material things, or you have to feed them. They need food all the time. So, what's the story? So, even though really, in a lifespan, at 18 years that it takes, and some kids more, some kids less, to really get them prepared to be on their own, I think a lot of people lose the reality of, the ultimate goal. Because a lot of these children that came out of, Mitchell High, a lot of the guys over here, they're so, want to be gangsters, so tough. Fathers were supposedly pimps or all this. And it's mainly because the school will fail them so bad that they didn't have many options. And then this being the South and Jim Crow, Jim Crow type of propaganda era, that really they just, they still have the mentality of it. And then they had, like, Mississippi's not far from him. They go back and forth. Like people do, because, like, my mom and her people all from Mississippi, but we have relatives in Memphis. So, it's like, I think really, like, once an area gets colonized by the white and the religion, you have borders where they were less important before. When we didn't have to, like the way we live now, is considered a slavery way, because we don't, we don't, supply our own food. We have to get our food from, like, the grocery store. You can't. I'm having a hard time growing. The guy next door, he's real evil. He's a good example of Jim Crow. I think he thinks, like, I started shit, and I was thinking about it. It was Larry Jones, because Larry Jones was living in the house that got torn down, and he had talked to Larry Jones first. So I think all the things that he thinks I did, Larry Jones did, because Larry Jones, which is funny because like he done told me some shit like he's a soldier, a gangster, and the other guy one like they were basically going around stealing. They basically hadn't had jobs since they came out of jail. What they came out of jail learning how to do was be uh, mostly male prostitutes and keep it on the down low because um, they have a real twisted idea of um, what sex is about, stuff like that, and how to treat people. And that's where I'm gonna get back to that Brock Kavanaugh. We do have a society with those Catholic preachers, they're taking advantage, with those football coaches that taking advantage, with the Mormons that had to do time. I can't remember all their names for raping the children. We do have a society, and where we don't nurture the kids, it's like these kids. Like look at us today in some of the choices. Look at Kavanaugh. I don't think the way he represented himself to the Congress when they were asking him questions, the way he answered was very nasty, um, argumentative, combative, and very partisan. Maybe not I don't know, partisan the right way. Very one-sided, and it sounded like some of the things he just out and out lied, but like when he was telling the guy the double some of the words they were asking he used, and I think this is stuff that he handed them to show how nice he was or something. There's a lot of people that had in high school and college had hanged out with him, had partied with him, had seen him around females, But the thing is that we have to supposedly protect the male adult, and then when there's the children of sexual abuse, so you got I'll say there's three different types. You got the ones that'll happen to them, and they'll study hard on how not to be like that. Yeah, the other type that they were like that, and they're it's like they have amnesia, and they just do the same thing was done to them to their child, especially if the abuse started before 5. The earlier it starts, the more norm. If it's any type of physical abuse, and it's still a trauma that I see Christian in the South. You see the girl act out instead of saying, "Wait a minute, she's acting out. Well, how does she know this at 9? How does she know anything about sex at 9? Somebody must have taught her, or showed her. Somebody gave her that information because they come in the world, they don't know anything. So but we blame the child. Well, she's if she gets if she gets raped and she gets pregnant, what I'm saying? You get labeled a lot. It's just like this policeman next door. You know what I'm saying? He rather think that I'm doing something to him because he keeps coming on my property and doing shit to me. So he has, what I'm saying? And plus, also, since he's been whooped, and this is the way they've been brought up, and with the Jim Crow propaganda, there's a lot of self-hate. You hate your hairs, because it doesn't look like. Well, I didn't watch TV, so the image I had of white people was the ones that were around me, and well, let me just say I grew up on 55th Street. Trump Tower is on 56th Street, so you could sort of have an idea because to me Trump, because I heard a lot of Russians talking about they with the Chinese mafia helped them get there, and then some through the church. The church has been trafficking people. There were the number one's trafficking slaves over here. He's with the James. I can't remember his name. I think it's James Wood, the one that wrote sort of Amazing Grace. But if you read the bio on it, I have it right now. But if you can look up Amazing Grace and see who supposedly wrote it, he was he worked on a ship. Basically, they were like pirates, where they would go kidnap people, or they had a whole market of bringing people out. The church did, and gobbling up their land. It was like in the Middle Ages or something. They were like one of the biggest land owners, like in England and Scotland and anywhere that they have went. So really, like Catholic Church in a lot of ways is like having a very abusive, because like if you look at the history, like they did a lot of disfiguring, killing, torturing. Um, anyway, and like so so it's not really to protect that person; it's to protect that behavior. Because if you want a good society and a healthy society and a growing society, it's just like if they wanted to cure the problem that they had here behind Jim Crow, they would educate the kids tenfold. They would stop hitting them. They would realize that it's, humans, mammals need nurture, not torture. Because like I remember growing up, I've heard a lot of kids, like they got whooped or whatever, and they were like, I hate my mom and kill her, just calling her a bitch or whatever. And, I mean, like them saying it out loud around other friends, I guess things were different there. And in our neighborhood, we'd be like, nah, man, you don't really, really want to do that. You pretty much talk them off that ledge. Not intentionally, it's just like this is a reality, this is the facts, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, because like here they act like there's no, like, okay, I can beat my kids, there's no consequences. Like, and these kids, like, like the police come in and they might spend 12 to 48 hours, not all one time, teaching them how to dial those 3 numbers. And when I was a kid, you probably memorized probably about anywhere from 15 to 30 numbers. And here, it's, and, you just call the person 2 or 3 times and you got it. I can't say I do it now. I got lazy cell phones, speed dial, so you don't have to memorize stuff. So nowadays, and you're just trying to teach them 3 numbers. So, like, you're belittling the child. You're not giving the information that they need at the appropriate time. I mean, like a lot of black kids before they even went to school, it was already, they knew the alphabet, knew how to spell and stuff. You knew your mom's phone number, her work phone number, grandma's phone number, uncle's phone number. Your friend that lived next door phone number, and 2 or 3 other places phone number. So, or you knew how to get in the phone book and look it up. And if you knew their address, you know how to go to the library and look at a reverse phone book. Like something like I think they taught like in 2nd grade. So, so you knew how to get information. Nowadays, but anyway, that's what we're working with. But what I'm trying to say is that brought Kavanaugh didn't party by himself. He partied with other people in high school and in college. Other people partied with him. Maybe a lot of people don't want to say they participated in, some of the things that they did to women, you know what I'm saying? But he's already sort of traumatized this woman, Dr. Ford. He never said he didn't know her. He never said he hadn't been someplace and had alcohol with her sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He kept saying beer, 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 beer. Like, like how, like one of those like the kid that you get on the weekend, that you and you and the dad is training your kid, and then like when you get him back, like dad done drilled him in something, and he gets stuck on that because you be talking about, hey, on your toast, do you want cinnamon toast or do you want like jam? They'll be like, dad went with no woman. You're like, so that's jam, So, but basically, so that's how he was, because like there was no reason for him to talk like he did, so disrespectful, so arrogant, and so ignorant, and to say that Hillary Clinton is trying to get back at him because of everybody knows how he was in high school. Anyway, let me get off.